We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CCW Insider. I am one of your CCW correspondents, Tyler Cashmere, joined by the man that always gets the answers, Axel Rome. Axel, how are we feeling? We're coming off a huge week from the last territory. Game of War, you got the shirt. I mean, what an amazing show.
What an amazing show indeed. I mean, Tyler, I'm still trying to wrap my head around after what we really witnessed. So we had Concrete City on Friday, and then Game of War, my very first Game of War that I got to experience at CCW in person, watching it and just seeing the craziness that was the entire event. But I want to give a shout out to every single person that was able to join us at Port St. Lucie for what a tremendous show that we had at Game of War, breaking record for CCW, breaking records of our own for the amount of people that showed up at the Port St. Lucie Mid-Florida Event Center there. Thank you to everyone who showed up, but also a thank you to everyone behind the scenes. A lot of people maybe don't see everything that goes into putting those two rings together, to taking it down. And I know we had a bit of an intermission, which is very rare for us, but you guys got to see the hard work of everyone behind the scenes to get that stage, that cage, everything set up for everyone. So I want to give everyone a shout out for being there, the great audience, the fans that we have, but also the people behind the scenes that were able to make Game of War possible. Tyler, I had a great night. You had a great night. I mean, getting to be there in person, I don't think there's really a better seat than to be able to be where you're at, calling the action right there, front row. So really, I got to get what's going on through your mind after having experienced the Game of War.
Yeah, it's almost surreal to have the opportunity to be able to call a Game of War match. I mean, just sitting there, like so close, looking at this behemoth of a structure and just seeing all 10 of those guys go in there, go to absolute war, put it all on the line. And, just seeing the main event monster, 6'6", flying down, crashing from the heavens with that elbow drop. Just unbelievable night, top to bottom for that show. Absolutely packed out that Mid-Florida Event Center. It was just an amazing night overall. And, in the last territory, we just keep things going. And look at this right here, our first comment from Justin. If the Knight Riders don't win, the ship's coming up July 6th. It's a travesty. A damn travesty, Axel. If the Knight Riders can't get the job done against the Knight Riders, hey, it's easier said than done. And firsthand, you interviewed the Crown. They're pissed off. They do not like losing. They do not like losing. Like Johnny B. Good's dropping. That's just what we do over here at the last territory. Absolutely. Shout out to Johnny. Also, shout out to Lizzie. As you can see, it's just us two for tonight. Lizzie Almeida feeling under the weather. We hope her the best. She'll be joining us in the weeks to come. But Axel, man, we got a loaded weekend coming up here to cap off June. We're going to have June next week off. Well, not really off because the work never stops. I mean, the train facility will keep on going up, but no shows for the last week of June. We'll be back right on the start of July. So we still got these two huge shows to break down for Friday, Breakout 37, and Saturday, Rumble the Jungle. But before we get to that, I think we got to run that intro.
Yeah. Well, where to begin, Tyler? Well, the obvious answer is going to be Breakout 37, since that's where you guys are going to be expecting us this Friday back at the Pompano CCW training facility in Pompano Beach, Florida. If you guys have not gotten your tickets, do so now at ccwrestlingfl.com because there's going to be a lot of hype to this Breakout 37. Now, Breakout, it started off as a place where any up-and-coming talent could really come and solidify themselves to our CCW fan base. But I think Breakout has evolved, especially since the time that I joined to about now. Now we're seeing big name matches here in Breakout. If you want to be in CCW's radar, you start off by appearing at these breakouts, right? And from there on, you get a little familiar with our fan base. You start coming out to a lot more shows. But Breakout is really that show where you get to be introduced to maybe outside talent that you're not normally used to seeing here at CCW, but also some very homegrown talent that you already know their names of. So Tyler, let's start off the matches with what are we expecting to see this Friday at Breakout 37?
Well, you mentioned homegrown talent. It doesn't get more homegrown than this Monster Mosh taking on the Raw Dogs in this huge rivalry match. This one has been building up here since the past month, ever since last Bash at the Brew. Elliot Crow gets involved in the one-on-one match between Skits and Ozzy, gives Ozzy a black eye with that nasty super kick. They take out Skits. They ruin Skits' chances at that Cruiserweight Championship, just ruining that singles match. We saw now at Game of War, that singles match between Elliot Crow and Skits, back and forth. I would say my match of the night, besides the main event, just an absolutely slobber knocker, but it came down to Skits hitting that 450 splash, not seeing that out of Skits in the last territory, and pinning Elliot Crow. And you had the chance to interview the Raw Dogs, and they were not happy. Elliot Crow now has even more of a vendetta against Monster Mosh.
Now, it was very interesting that I do have to bring out a fair point. Elliot Crow did mention that the only reason why he may not have gone the upper hand at Game of War was because he didn't have his boys out there. And that may be a little true. Exactly. He did not have the Raw Dogs pack with him. So maybe that did play a factor at Port St. Lucie last Saturday. But this weekend, he's getting to team up with James Tapia. And we know James Tapia is not someone to take lightly in the ring. He's been training. He's been improving. He's been going to the New Japan Pro Dojo over in California. He's been really getting in those reps, and I would like to see exactly how the Raw Dogs are going to fare up against Monster Mosh, who have a lot of unsettled business, if I'm concerned, between what happened at Bash at the Brew, what happened at Game of War, and now the Raw Dogs proclaiming that they didn't really like being seen or not seen as possible cruiserweight title contenders for Ozzy Killmeister. Elliot Crow feeling disrespected. He has not been given that chance after people like Nick Turner, Skids, Joe Garcia had been given opportunities at that title before him. Now the Raw Dogs really taking things into their own hands and making CCW management aware that they're here not only in the CCW tag team division, but also in the cruiserweight division. And what better way than to interfere in this Cruiserweight Championship match that we were all really looking forward to seeing a determined winner. We did not. Maybe in the future we'll get to see Skits and Ozzy a rematch. But for right now, what they have to really focus on is the Raw Dogs and James Tapia and Elliot Crow.
Yeah, and then on the other side of that, Skits, which we'll get in, talk about a little bit more in Rumble in the Jungle. Skits definitely a more darker side of personalities. It seems
That's
like
right.
The 8 personalities that Skits claims that he has have all kind of gone to the dark side, and they have a vendetta against a very certain person, which we will get to for the Rumble the Jungle card. But this Skits is a very different Skits right now. And you look at his partner, Ozzy Killmeister, the Cruisermeister has been on a tear, winning his match at Game of War against ERA, who is no one to like hush. I mean, that is a veteran here in the last territory. If you get a singles victory over ERA, that is big. And Ozzy did it, surviving that weekend against Jake St. Patrick, surviving against ERA, and looking impressive in both. Our own Nelio Costa doubting him, saying that I don't think he could do it because he didn't think anybody could do it. But the most metalhead keeps proving people wrong. And right now you got the Raw Dogs and Monster Mosh. I'm looking forward to it, Axel. But I think Monster Mosh right now is on a different level, and the Raw Dogs might not be on top at Breakout 37.
It could be, and you have to take into consideration this is going to be the first time that Ozzy Killmeister gets to step inside the ring with any member of the Raw Dogs after what happened at last Bash at the Brew. So I'm feeling that Ozzy Killmeister is just waiting for his opportunity to get his hands on either Tapia, Fer Rojas, and especially Elliot Crow. So they have that opportunity this Friday. It's going to be one hell of a match for sure.
Absolutely. Ezra, weekly viewer, corrected me. Heartbreak Jake. Sorry.
Heartbreak Jake making a CCW debut. Yep.
Jake, no more Jake St. Patrick. Heartbreak Jake. So let's just get into our second match. What a way to kick off Breakout. Now look at this. Meadow versus John Havoc. Meadow has been weekly coming out, defending these CCW Southeastern Championship, having open challenges, and it looks like John Havoc has stepped up to that plate. John Havoc, a newcomer to the last territory, but really impressive bout so far. He won his debut match at Breakout against Pretty Rich Wise. Now having this opportunity, but man, is it a bad time to step into the ring against Meadow, isn't it?
That's right. It is. Just like you mentioned, the crowd is not very particularly a fan of losing. When I talked to the group after Game of War, Meadow was not very happy of losing as well, and he really made a decisive factor that it seems that all these gentlemen are going to be going on their own. I don't know what's really going to be stirring up after this Game of War match between Meadow, the Crown, Danny Briggs, and even Stallion Rogers, but what I do know is that you don't want to be in the ring right now with Meadow. He's a pissed off Southeastern champion, a pissed off Bulgarian. And though John Havoc has been making a name of himself here in CCW as of late, it's very impressive to think about the opponents who he has had the opportunity to step into the ring with, like Alex Chamberlain, correct? Like Cha-Cha Charlie, Pretty Rich Weiss. Now he's getting an opportunity at the Southeastern champion. Meadow, unfortunately, maybe not the best time like you mentioned, Tyler, but that doesn't seem like a reason why John Havoc is not going to bring his A game this Friday at Breakout 37. And if he definitely wants to continue making a name of himself, maybe even pushing the Southeastern champion Meadow to his limits, could be something that will maybe further the fire for John Havoc in order to continue climbing up the ranks here in CCW.
Yeah, and to be fair, I don't think there's any good time to step into the ring against Meadow. I mean, the man's undefeated, over 500 day as a champion. John Havoc has a lot to prove here in the last territory, and CCW management's giving him those opportunities. But man, good luck to John Havoc. And speaking of CCW management, we are not by ourselves, Axel. The man himself.
Who the hell let you guys use StreamYard? I'm watching Bluey. And I see you guys are on here. What the hell is going on? Number one, guys. John Havoc. Here's his chances: 0. No way. Meadow Friday. So you wanna see a murder? Buy your tickets Friday at the CCW arena. You want to see a dead body? That's the place to see it. That's the place to be able to see it. Now, I'm kidding. Would it be an upset? Yeah, huge upset. Do I see Meadow losing the Southeastern Championship? No, but I see really good positive things with John Havoc. I see just in general super positive things going on with him. This is a huge test for him, obviously. Why is my beard so white? Obviously, huge test for John Havoc. I still have my my daughter. She's made me the sheriff. Hey. Hollywood, Florida today. So, no, yeah, it's the probably the most meaningless thing that's ever happened. Just kidding. I'm saying if I had actually become the sheriff,
right,
of Florida. But I have a couple funny stories about the Hollywood police and professional wrestling in the 70s and 80s. We'll talk about in a different time. But anyway, guys, I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be back. A couple announcements. We got some awesome stuff going on Friday and Saturday. This was confirmed earlier. You have a former NXT talent who's going to be in action at Breakout and on Rumble in the Jungle, Tripping Animals, man. Nice. Talking about incredible shows that we got going on this weekend. Talking about all that crazy stuff. You add that to it. You know what I mean?
Look at Pretty Rich Weiss.
Rich Weiss is going to wrestle Meadow for the next 6 months. That's what happens when you cross the executive committee here at CCW. Now I know I feel old, man. I feel really old, but actually, wait. I look old, but I feel pretty young, man. I feel young, watching a lot of Bluey, drinking my new messy water. My messy, yeah. So I'm doing a lot of good stuff here.
I thought that was Prime for a second. They just totally got the design from it.
Prime, it's Prime for soccer players.
Okay.
I look and feel like a soccer player.
There we go.
So soccer. No, it's really good. It's this is the replenish and the hydration. I'm sure that Messi's never even heard of Prime. I'm sure that's
I'm sure.
What is Prime?
With Prime? Of the bottle and all that type of stuff. But actually, I can't say anything bad about Messi because someone very important to me is producing the Prime. The Messi Messi drinks commercials that are going to be out soon. So that's really cool. So. Cut that out, guys.
Yeah, we'll do it. It's live, brother.
Yeah, I know we're live, pal. No,
we're live.
Talking about sponsorships. We're really excited to have Patrick DeFeo, Luxury Properties, an excellent real estate company, in the Tampa, Florida area. He's come on board as well. So we're really excited about that. And then I don't know if it was announced yet, but we have a really awesome mortgage company that's also come on board in regards to sponsorship. Adding Boca Stone Design, Redcon One, and a lot of awesome companies that are working with us here. They're making us, we're able to expand. That's how the dream works. So
hey, we just keep getting bigger and better. That's all that matters, baby.
You have to hydrate. I mean, you have to drink what, 18, 20 glasses of water a day, they say now, right? Everybody's walking around with those big jugs, like they just carry barrels around in the gym of water. Everyone's just waterlogged. Everyone's urine's completely clear. So, why not, break it up a little bit. Drink a little bit of the, Mas Plus by Messi.
Thank you, Messi. All right. Let's continue on with Breakout, shall we, man? These next couple matches are pretty big.
I want to jump in there too. We have awesome stuff happening. I'll announce it right now. Obviously, Breakout and Rumble and Jungle this weekend, but coming out hot tonight. Dirty Death. This is for Tampa. This is for July 13th. Tickets are on sale right now. Dirty Devin Diaz versus Jay Vidal, going to be incredible.
Wow.
Brian Brock returns to CCW. He wrestles Domino. I feel for Domino on that one. The CCW Tennessee title to be defended in the state of Florida. I don't know how legal that is. I'm going to have to check with the courts on that. But the CCW Tennessee title will be defended in Tampa. Colby Carter wrestles Alex Horvath in his first defense of said title. Iron Savages return, and they're wrestling Monster Mosh, going to be incredible. And then return matchup, Eddie Torres with the Good Doctor and David Mercury in a special grudge match. So that's just some of what's going to happen. I'm sure you'll see the South American Alliance there. So that's on January 13th. Axel was offended.
Axel just got up and left.
Axel said he couldn't believe that I dropped that card. I could see it in his face. He was so mad.
No, he wasn't mad. He was so excited. He's already getting ready for Tampa for next month.
Getting ready for Tampa. And then Kissimmee, good stuff. I don't want to. I'll drop Kissimmee card at the end of the end of my time here because I can't be here the old time. But that'll be it. He was so excited. Axel was. He had to dip out. He had
to dip out real quick.
Axel, is that your bedroom?
No, it's not. This is the living room.
I was just your living room. I was saying, it's giving me little college bedroom vibes. I mean, I think you're older than you've been to college and stuff like that, but it's in a good way, that college vibes. I also look like I have a man cave. This is my CCW home office there.
Beautiful.
It's also where I paint. I like to come in and paint my French women, if you will. But to go. Let's see. How are we doing today, man? Some of these comments, guys, nice comments, really cool comments, but also very strange. Topic at hand. I'm here also, so we'll do an Ask Me Anything. Talking about ECW. A lot of awesome stuff happening there. And that skits. The skits. Do you paint French women too? Yes. I guess I do. Doesn't.
It's a very skit.
Paris, one of my favorite cities. Thanks for asking, Skits. One of my favorite cities. I love it so much. The Louvre. You can go get like an olive. You go to the Eiffel Tower and there's like a beautiful French bakery. You go get like an olive loaf and then maybe a little bit of salmon. Just, incredible. Like, everything is so low key in France. Everywhere you go is just so chill and low key. And
Last Territory takes over France.
Oh yeah, for sure.
The Last Territory takes over France. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm gonna be like Eisenhower storming.
It's gonna be Plane Ride from Hell Part 2, brother.
It's gonna be I'm gonna say, hey, you're gonna see great wrestling here in France, whether you like it or not. You know what? I would love that. Hey, you have a place like in Beijing. You have a place like New Orleans. A lot of people. There's a lot of talk, a lot of rumors going on. I got a place like New Orleans, which feels like France, and then maybe that's one of the next stops, or the next stop, or the new territory for CCW. But all these rumors and innuendo. Let's go to the next thing, Tyler.
All right, big one here. Nikki Blackheart making her official in-ring debut We saw her help out Ruthie J at the last bash at the Brew, and she is taking on Madison Blake, which Madison Blake, hard-hitting competitor in her own right, not afraid to step up to anybody. I mean, it was hard, Nelly, you can admit that, to find someone to go up against Nikki Blackheart.
Well, it was simple. Madison took Amber Nova to the limit at Conquer Kissimmee last week. Was it last week? My God.
Yeah.
Was that last week?
It was really last week.
Friday. That's what it was, Friday. So Friday, she took Amber Nova to the limit. I see like really positive stuff for Madison Blake. I see like, there's some things that she needs to fine tune. She could have beat her. She could have beat Amber Nova. She could have dug deep, but nobody wants to take this match because Nikki Blackheart is a 100%. There's no tape out there. She's an unknown. You don't know what you're getting. Like I've seen, obviously, from her first, from her first bump, from when Gangrel first taught her how to, walk into that ring. I've seen it, but you never know when the fans are there and the lights of Breakout are on her. It's her debut, and physically speaking, Nikki Blackheart has the advantage over like most any women. Short of Camille or China. I don't think there's anybody who can match muscle for muscle with Nikki Blackheart in wrestling today. So, you expect a fight, an explosion. I don't expect to see, this isn't going to be, I almost said Flair Steamboat, but I'm going to say this isn't Becky Lynch and, Charlotte Flair. This isn't going to be Mercedes Moné and Bayley from SummerSlam. What was her name before? Sasha Banks and Bayley from SummerSlam. But it's going to be a hard-hitting fight. I expect someone to get kicked in the head and kicked in the face. And we have we have an expected sellout for Friday. We have an incredible pre-sale specifically on Friday for Breakout. So you're going to have that intensity, a special type of intensity in that building. And Breakout is special. The lights, there's darkness, there's lights. It feels incredible. It's going to be a fight. And just because you give the obvious experience advantage of to Madison Blake, but just because it's Nikki Blackheart's debut, don't expect her to just fire in like a cannonball and run through it. This is going to be, I think, a very interesting match. This is probably I don't want to. This is one of the most intriguing matches of the night for me. This is one that I'm going to be really excited to see.
No, absolutely it is. And just seeing what Nikki Blackheart can do in that ring. And I think she's going to open a lot of people's eyes to what we see when she's training and everything. And really, I think she's going to make a lot of fans and a lot of enemies backstage because
she already has a lot of fans. Like, it's crazy.
Axel, actually, the last time
she's one of the most popular wrestlers in CCW, and she has
a wrestle.
So that's going to be something that I think is going to be special. You also have a lot of I'll be completely honest with you. You have a lot of there's a lot of interest. Specifically from there's a lot of interest to see film on Nikki. So this is going to be, you have the biggest wrestling company in the world. Might already have an eye on what's going on Friday in more than one way. So, again, I hope Nikki's not listening to this because I hope it's not more undue pressure. Also, the first match, but I think she's a star. She was, she has a star quality, and then, but I think Madison is a future star too. They're both. This is, I think, their first encounter. You can say that'll be the first encounter of a few. So I'm excited for it. Not to put any undue pressure on Nikki or Madison or anybody.
Yeah,
this is the biggest night of your life.
Yeah. No, and this is a great opportunity also for Madison to spoil that night and take that spotlight straight from Nikki Blackheart.
It's the best part of that. That's what you want. You want to be that spoiler. I love to be that spoiler. I love to be that that underdog. It's like I create mental gymnastics in my head to be the underdogs still.
And
okay, so embrace it when you've got it, so
yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of an underdog Madison is having a year experience, but I think it's going to be hard hitting. It's going to be intense. Axel, last time you were in the room with Nikki Blackheart, you felt her intensity. Then you got your glasses slapped off your face by Ruthie J. And then you got stared down to death by Nikki Blackheart. What do you think about all this?
That scared me.
I wouldn't want to be Madison Blake in this situation. But what I can tell you, like Nelio mentioned, it is going to be very interesting because this is going to be one of the most talked about debuts that we've had here in CCW for a while. We've all been hearing, and when we saw the presence of Nikki Blackheart make her really present or debut at Bash at the Brew with Ruthie J, I'm just very interested in order to see if Nikki Blackheart, like you mentioned, Nelio, once it comes down to it and she hits the curtains and she's about to head into that match, will she be able to handle that pressure that comes with competing in front of a breakout crowd that can be very intimate at the same time, but very ruthless? They'll let you know exactly how they feel, whether they're behind the match, whether they're a big fan of yours or not. They're going to let you know exactly how they feel. And if Nikki is able to put that on the side and focus on getting this win over Madison Blake, what an impressive way to let the CCW women's division know that you're here and you're not about to play any games, and she is the muscle behind the CCW women's champion, Ruthie J.
Excellent.
So it's going to be very.
Where did you come from? That's a great, awesome. That is an excellent. That is an excellent point. Like, Breakout is our hardest show to work.
Yeah, it really is. It really can be.
I'll tell people like, hey, come work Breakout, and that's the hardest show because the fans are really close, and I don't know why the fans are brutal, and they're very they love. Like, what's the thing? Like, they will not like you until they do, and you better
exactly. Yeah.
Like, very rarely do you see someone just walk in and they love them. Like, they are used to watching us up close. They know CCW. They know the stories in CCW. So like they're the crowd that will just say like who the I gotta stop swearing, like CCW's gotta all of our promos are just beeps, like
they are.
But they'll say who the F are you pretty quickly. So I don't expect that from Nikki and I don't expect that from Madison, but excellent point, Axel. Wonderful point. Hey, gotta say this before we move on to the next match. Camille's returning. So I'm not going to announce which show and for how many shows and whatever. I mean, people know what's going on with her, but she's returning. That's a done deal today. So we're excited to get her going. And it's Nikki Blackheart. I mean, I see like the first person that I thought of when it's like, oh, is there anybody more physically imposing in wrestling? And it's Camille. So I don't even know. I guess it's the you can't count your chickens, but I see a lot of really positive things there. Matthew Rodriguez, hey guys, I have a question for you. With the WWE partnering with indie companies, will you guys love to do something with WWE in the future? I mean, if I said no, that would mean I'm the biggest idiot. If you listen to Gabe Sapolsky, who's in charge of independent recruiting, and who's now been with us a few times. I speak to him pretty regularly. We had an awesome space in which, he asked me to speak on some topics on said space. It's a really interesting thing to see. I'm interested to see what WWE, I'm interested to see what they're doing with TNA, like what we saw last night, because that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
We do the logistics for TNA. I love the guys at TNA. We do the Florida logistics for TNA. And we're cool. Like, they're cool. And talking to those guys and then talking to, the WWE and I have a lot of friends there. I have a very close friend, Ryan Katz, who worked with us, obviously, when he was away from WWE, but like, and then Blake Chadwick, the voice of CCW, still lives. He's still the voice of CCW, but he's at he's in WWE, and he's doing a lot of stuff there. And then you have Natalie Laredo, which is Lola Vice, and Bianca Corelli, and Jake Tucker, who's awesome. And then yes, I think what is it in? And we have at Bash. We have Carolina Cruz, who just came off of NXT. We have another talent coming right off of NXT. We've had we've been approached to do stuff with future NIL talent, whether that's in training and stuff. So would I love Valerie to come home and have a match, or Ariana Grace to come home and have a match? Yes. It's not up to me, but I mean, that would be the coolest thing ever. I mean, I expect it, I guess. It's the best way to say it. But other than literally like just discussions on where my plans are and where we're doing and all that type of stuff, nothing whatever, nothing is there's nothing in because also like the last thing that I would ever want to do, QT Marshall is the CCW heavyweight champion. I just talked about Camille. We have the Iron Savages coming in for the next 2.5 months on a regular basis. We have a lot of our talent working Ring of Honor. The last thing that I would want to ever do would be to hurt our relationship with All Elite Wrestling either. So, if a situation where we're all sitting down and we're all talking and whatever, I love it all, but I love wrestling first and foremost. You know what I mean? So do I expect to see something? Yeah, but I don't know. I have to say I don't know.
Like Skid said, I'll take him. Just anybody.
Yep.
Just take anybody.
Ola Vice versus Skits. September 7th. Book it right now. No, Skits. Skits will take them all on. I would say Skits and the Wyatt 6.
Ooh.
Oh.
I think he fits right into it. I think a lot of good stuff happening with Skits. I think expect Skits. Oh, I mean, I know he's watching. So expect a lot of really cool stuff from Skits. I think there is something happening with the Skits character, and it's been great and subtle. And if you're watching, the Wyatt Skits, it's so funny. Trying to be good. It's Wednesday after Father's Day, and he's bringing the dad jokes. But you're going to see a lot of cool stuff from Skits too. So yes. So Matt Rodriguez. Yeah. I mean, it's like, hey, if you sell like what you feel is like a great boutique burger throughout the state of Florida, that like a good amount of people love your burger and pay for it and eat it and love it. And then you go to the, person who's making the burgers and trying to build the burgers and stuff like that. And yes, it is Boss B. Better be there. You go to that person and say, hey, would you like to work with McDonald's? Would you like to work with Five Guys? You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I'll do something with Five Guys. I'll do something. So that's what someone, asking for the WWE. Yes, Saturday, Tripping Animals. I come on here, completely derailed the show.
No,
there's
it's amazing.
Just so much happening in CCW, both with our shows and then behind the scenes. It's kind of hard not to want to talk about, especially with our fan base that just want to know exactly what's going to be CCW's next move. And that's the thing. I don't think any of us really know what CCW's next move. It's just come out for the ride, enjoy it with us, and you're going to be on it as just as with any of us are going to be in it.
And you have to enjoy every like stage of this. Like I enjoyed the earliest growth stage. You have to enjoy the growing pains. You have to enjoy the like frustration. There's a lot of things that made me frustrated. Getting the right video, audio people in place and getting that going, and then finding new ones, and then finding a potential television partner, multiple television partners, finding a reality, signing a reality TV show, deal, and not working out. Stuck in development hell. You think the next thing is the big thing, but all of it was great and fun, and is great and fun. So like whatever the next thing is, I'm gonna enjoy this thing in the meantime.
Yeah.
Of the journey,
Journey is the jewel, as we say at the Last Territory. But yeah, no, I think Last Territory, wrap that up in a bow. I mean, it's almost like a melting pot of wrestling. Like, hey, you're from WWE, you're from developmental NXT, you're from TNA, AEW. Come prove yourself at the Last Territory, because we want anyone and everyone, and come test yourself here.
Yeah, I mean, like we have had representatives from New Japan speak to us about stuff, and it blows my mind because 10 years ago I was staying up. I would never do this again. I would stay up until 4 a.m. to watch Wrestle Kingdom, and never again. But and watching Okada and Tanahashi won, where they didn't pull the trigger on Okada and stuff, and then it's like, oh, someone like someone from New Japan is like interested in something or whatever, or like to do a match or whatever. So it's weird, right? It's weird, but it's cool at the same time. Really, really cool. Mellow Yellow 2016, 2000 and my first CCW show was 2007 or 2008. So it's like 2024 now. And Soul Man in the ring, don't stop, get it. And Blackheart scared me, really did scare me. He comes out with a Jabberwocky mask and stuff like that. So, 2000, whether it's like, it's so funny because I watched a couple of DVDs of the first shows some of them are available now, more of them available. There's a lot of DVDs in the early shows in 2004 and 5, and I'll see fans that are still coming 20 years later. And they're the worst. No, I'm just kidding. The ones that are just like, I liked it, Bobby Sanford, exactly. No, this was Cha-Cha knows what's up. But this was, yes. Yeah. But, yes. But, those fans, because they're like, yeah, this is great and all. But, back in 2006, like, yeah, well, everything was in 2006. So sorry.
Cha-Cha's still going on. Back to the glory days.
Get it. He knows 2007, 2008. This is the last time that the world economy was burning down, and it's don't stop, get it. Bobby Sanford.
We have derailed so much.
And we have derailed just a little bit, but what a perfect segue with Cha-Cha popping in to say hello, to talk about maybe his upcoming match this Friday against Chris Farrow. Now, I got a little bit of opinion here between these two gentlemen, okay? When it comes to Cha-Cha Charlie, you're coming fresh off a victory from Game of War, right? And we all know that Cha-Cha Charlie may not have had the best of months before Game of War, going up against AJ Francis, having some losses, some wins over with
he won the blow-off in a cage.
Well, he did. So he did. I feel like it's been a bit of a roller coaster couple months for Cha-Cha Charlie.
AJ Francis is on TNA. NXT. I was half expecting him to be in the Battle Royal. He's in the NWA. AJ Francis is every single, he is a hot commodity, and I think his hottest feud post WWE was him and Cha-Cha Charlie.
Well, definitely. And but Cha-Cha has been
Miami Dolphins Pro Bowl cornerback Brent Grimes.
He even had to get involved.
Yeah. It's funny because those shows were so crazy that like those aspects of the show didn't come off as that crazy. But like if you look at it in a historical sense, like that occurred and it happened, it's like, wait, that happened and that's crazy. Sorry, but continue. No, here's what did we talked about what happened at Game of War?
We talked briefly about it. But if you want to go a little bit more in depth into about it, let's go for it.
What was this guys in the ring hurting each other? Blood everywhere. But I think if you have been watching closely, you saw Cha-Cha Charlie and the South American Alliance basically gotten their asses kicked. Bleep that out, Eric. Sorry. For the last 6 weeks, just taking they're just getting beat, and it was a huge catharsis. Gangrel dealing with some injuries. Madman, main event monster Fulton comes in, and he's the hero of really what was an incredible Game of War. But there's no way that any of the 10 men in that match is at 100%. Today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, probably up until next week. There's nobody that is 100% Axel. Continue.
That's right. So when you're thinking about that, Chris Farrow, Charlie, they're both, I think, at a place where this match is a little bit crucial because it will at least launch them to see where they go from here. Charlie has been on the hunt for that heavyweight championship, while Chris Farrow is still trying to find his footing as to where is he going to be reestablished here with CCW, whether it's going to be with a cruiserweight, whether it's going to be for the Southeastern Championship, whether he finds a partner again and maybe goes for the CCW Tag Team Championship. So I think this match is just crucial for both superstars at this moment in order to propel them to where they go next.
I disagree, Axel. I disagree.
Okay.
I think Charlie needs this match. He's flying so high right now. Chris Farrow's ready to ascend. So you have Chris. This match for Chris, listen, he goes in there, he wrestles Charlie. He can go in, he can put in a good showing. I think Chris is going to be in there, and he's going to be a more dangerous wrestler and someone who's going to be able to take more risks, and he'll dig down deep. This is a dangerous match for Charlie. I don't think it is because I don't think Chris Farrow I think Chris Farrow can take risks. You know why? Because Chris Farrow should be hyper-focused on July 6th when he steps in the ring for the Cruiserweight Championship in a triple threat against the, minus Jay Vidal, minus Jake St. Patrick, the pillars of the CCW Cruiserweight Championship division in a triple threat. Ozzy, Chris Farrow, and Alan S2S Martinez. So Chris can take this as a huge win, and of course it can propel him, but I think Cha-Cha needs to kind of defend the throne in this regard. He's flying high. Tyler?
Yeah, no, Cha-Cha Charlie coming off that huge win. He's got that momentum. Will he ride it to a victory at Breakout 37? I think not. I think, like you said, you mentioned earlier, he's just been through so much in that Game of War match. I had that front row seat there in commentary. Me and Dan were speechless half the time because of the carnage we're seeing, blood flying, tables being crushed. I mean, and let's not forget, Cha-Cha started that match. I believe, Dan, how long was the match? 38 minutes? Or was it even longer than 38 minutes? Because I think when the door closed, I don't know, Dan maybe said
it was an hour.
It was an hour long. Cha-Cha Charlie was in there all 60 minutes, feeling every single one of that. And, Chris Farrow, he just keeps getting more impressive every time I see him. He's been in a lot of multi-man tag team matches when I'm calling. He's just flying out of the ring, doing crazy things. I think Chris Farrow right now, he's in a prime opportunity to get this big win over Cha-Cha Charlie and then ride that momentum going into the three-way match, because Cha-Cha, man, he has been through a lot as of late, and surviving that Game of War match, now you have to go against Farrow. It's not looking good for Cha-Cha.
A lot of emotions in the building on Friday. It's going to be a lot of emotions. Mm-hmm. That match will main event. It's official. So, I expect some craziness in that match. I expect a lot of emotion, a lot of intensity, and a full house. I expect to be completely sold out by Friday because of how ticket sales are looking and certain super positive factors as of late. So, get there early and settle in and just be ready for it. Whole card is stacked, awesome, obviously, but that's going to be a big main event. Just wanted to talk about this. Watch Pretty Rich Weiss promo on Nickelback. Loving Ozzy. I haven't seen this promo yet, but I have to say something about this. I don't listen to Nickelback. I've heard whatever radio hits. I'm not a big Spotify guy for Nickelback. I'm busy listening to other things, but I'll say this. One of the most popular bands of all time. If Ozzy really is a huge Nickelback fan, who are we? Who are we to go against it? I don't know what Ozzy Killmeister's musical tastes are. Well, I think sometimes he hints about it.
I can tell you, it's not Nickelback.
He's hinted a few times, but I would go back and watch. I'm gonna go watch that promo, man. Gonna go watch that ASAP. All right, what do we got next?
Well,
I hear another episode of Bluey starting, so I got to kind of go on it.
We ran down the Breakout card. So what's next is Rumble in the Jungle 5, another stacked show.
Jungle,
man, Tripping Animals, Doral, becoming one of my favorite crowds to.
One of number 5, loudest crowd that we have. not as big like our bash crowd, because we can't physically put 800 human beings inside of tripping animals. I mean, legally, or comfortably, or without some Altamont situation. I'll bring in the Hell's Angels and stuff. That's a deep cut, but it is the loudest crowd that we have and the most voracious. I think the craziest 250 bash fans come to Tripping Animals. So you put them all in a room, and it just becomes an insane asylum of professional wrestling every month. So if that sounds like something that's interesting to you, I'm just kidding. It's also just an incredible show. It's a hot show, and the crowd is like the fourth member of the match. They call the Seattle Seahawks crowd the 12th man. I call the Tripping Animals crowd the first man, because they're so great. They're the most important part of that crowd. So, and this one's stacked.
Kicking us off, John Havoc versus Devin Diaz. John Havoc, big weekend for John. He's taking on Meadow at Breakout, and then having to go up against the Dirty Man, Devin Diaz, at Rumble in the Jungle. Dirty Man coming down south to go take over Rumble in the Jungle.
Man, this is a PG show, Tyler. Talking about Dirty Man going south or whatever.
Hey, it's Doral.
I gotta say, the Dirty Man, Dirty Devin Diaz, he's on a roll. He's on a win streak. He's got a great future, a huge future, and John Havoc. This is a more manageable match for John Havoc, but again, it's very possible that Dirty Devin Diaz takes John Havoc to school on Saturday, and that's what we're gonna see. But was it against Allen? John Havoc and Allen at Breakout last month was very, 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 very good. So, I expect this one to be good. And, if it's possible, if Dirty Devin, the beer at Tripping Animals, incredible craft beer, like incredible taste. Like, if for instance, it's possible before the show, if Dirty Devin might have, he might drink a few too many craft breweries, and you might see John Havoc steal one in Doral on Saturday.
Axel actually found Dirty Devin Diaz passed out in front of Magnanimous Brewing. Didn't you, Axel?
Yeah.
That's his workout regimen, man. That's what he tells me. Like, he prepared for a match by just like any other time. He prepares it by smoking a cigarette, having a few brewskis, hanging out with his fellow men there at the Magnanimous Brewery that he wants to. And you know what? I just think that Dirty Devin Diaz should maybe take this match a little bit more serious. As we know, he's been on the roll as of late here in CCW, especially back at Havoc and Hayes in our Tampa shows. But also John Havoc has also been earning a name for himself month after month, I should say, in these opportunities that he has been given, and whether he comes out with a victory or not, it's just more to give him credit that he is someone that you should not take lightly here in CCW. And, well, when it comes to taking on the Dirty Man, I just have to hopefully warn John Havoc to be a little bit ready and on his A game, taking on someone that is a bit more seasoned in pro wrestling than he is. But definitely going to be one match to look into as far as who's going to propel themselves up the ladder in CCW. Will it be the Dirty Man? Will it be John Havoc? It's going to be one that you don't want to miss, and you're going to want to be there at Tripping Animals this Saturday for that, guys.
Dirty Devin Diaz, he wrestles Jay Vidal in Tampa, announced earlier. If Dirty Devin Diaz can remain undefeated through July 13th, that'll give him an opportunity against QT Marshall in August at Magnanimous Brewing, if he can win those matches. So I think that will give him a few, maybe give him a little bit of that motivation. Maybe
I want an
incentive up outside Magnanimous, And Axel, what are you just like trolling for drunks outside of bars? You're just such a great journalist. You're just
always looking for the scoops.
It's like it's true. Actually, one of the lowest moments of my life, I was intoxicated and sick and horrible, and then out of nowhere came Axel. So I have to say, he's there to find the scoop. I'm throwing up in a trash can during a game of war And there was Axel with his camera right in my face.
Ready to get the scoops. And speaking of throwing up in trash cans, a lot of people do this when this man comes out. Pretty Rich Wise
versus Nickelback Ozzy.
The Cruisermeister, Ozzy Killmeister.
Nickelback heavyweight champion of the world, Ozzy Killmeister. Winner gets an entire box set of all of Nickelback's work. So that'll make Ozzy want to win that thing. Rich Weiss is jacked. He's going to have to he is going to have to weigh in on Saturday, and he better be under 200 pounds, 199. Ozzy has weighed in at 199 pounds. 199.8 was the last his last cruiserweight match. That is a shoot. People think I'm joking, but I will start just posting his weight pre-match. So Rich Weiss has to do the same thing because I think he's a bigger guy too. But this is another string of incredible defenses that Ozzy will have to get through, and Rich Weiss is will he be in words of one of our great men, just another victim, Ozzy Killmeister, or does the Cruiserweight Championship come back with purple feathers and lube on it?
Hey,
probably.
Right up Pretty Rich Wise's alley. Axel, what do you think about this one?
Well, talking to Rich Wise, I know he mentioned he may not have had his full focus on Domino because at Game of War, because he was a little bit more focused on this match with Ozzy Killmeister here at Rumble in the Jungle. So I'm just hoping that what Pretty Rich Wise told me is true, that he does bring his A game, that he was maybe a little bit distracted because of this upcoming Cruiserweight Championship match. And this is the opportunity of a lifetime. I think this is going to be Pretty Rich Wise's first opportunity at Championship Gold here at CCW. I could be mistaken. Someone double check me on that. But what a way to try to make a name for yourself here in CCW by trying to knock off Ozzy Killmeister, who has been dominating here in the Cruiserweight division as of late as your Cruisermeister champion. Definitely not a match that he's going to take lightly, as he does not take any of his matches lightly. So Ozzy Killmeister and Pretty Rich Wise are going to be bringing a lot of the power to Tripping Animals this upcoming this Saturday at Rumble in Jungle 5. But it's going to be a matter of who's going to be, I guess, wanting it more. Whether Rich Wise is going to be wanting that sweet win over Ozzy Killmeister and maybe debunking some of these theories that CCW management has has it for him by giving him some inopportune opportunities. But this seems to be like, hey, Rich, match. you're getting what you're wanting. You're getting a championship match, so there's no reason to complain.
Hates Rich Wise. If you think that if I really hated you, I'd be taking you to New York Prime on the weekdays, because that's what you do at the executive committee of CCW. You reward all those people that we hate with championship. No. I have to say, Rich Wise brings the heat constantly, and from the first time I met Rich to now, man, I don't know how many years ago it was, but he's a different person. You know what I mean? Someone very close to me broke Rich's arm in one of Rich's first matches. Is very sorry for doing so, but it's a different Rich Wise today than back then.
That big match there, Ozzy Killmeister,
and a different Vinicius now than back then.
Ozzy Killmeister, like you said, Nelio, on a complete run. I actually mentioned earlier that last week you said you didn't think the Cruisermeister was going to be able to survive last weekend.
I stand corrected.
He beat Heartbreak Jake. He beat ERA, and now he's heading in Rumble in Jungle 5 with all this momentum. And Pretty Rich Wise, he's full of dirty tactics. He's full of, opponents underestimating him and him getting the sneaky win. I don't think Ozzy Killmeister is underestimating anyone. I think he goes in Rumble Jungle 5 and he retains and still the Cruisermeister. But it's just going to be – these shows are loaded. This weekend, we're going to have so much fun. We always have fun in the Last Territory, but, man, it's going to be – but these shows are going to be hot. These shows are going to be hot. People are going to be sweating. People are going to be screaming. And they're going to be screaming for this one, Skits versus Ricky Martinez. And, hey, Ricky, you didn't like clowns. Well, now you're facing probably the most evil demonic clown you ever seen. Skits has turned a corner. That last video vignette he did, it gave me goosebumps. It freaked me out. I was like, oh boy, I already have to deal with the Invoked out there half the time. Now Skits is just, he's completely lost it. We might have to worry about Ricky Martinez's life. He's going to have to go in this and fight like his life depends on it, because, well, it might just depend on it. What do you think, Delio?
Skits is in a dark place, and it's getting darker. And Ricky has a huge match at Bash. The tickets, by the way, for Bash are insane. Keep buying them. Buy them early. He can't for a second look over that clown. He can't take his eye off of Skits for a second, because Skits is just in a dark place. So I couldn't tell you who's going to win this match, but I'll say that I think Skits is going into this one to maybe dismember somebody. So that's boss. Is it as hot as Bash?
Hotter.
No, it's cooler. No, it's hot. It's hot in that because you have 250 people in a sellout. And they're loud and they're together. So yeah, it gets pretty hot, but we make it feel cool in there, you know? Is that a joke, Ezra? You think this is a joke? You think this is a joke to you? No, I'm just kidding. I was like, I can't believe I just put that on the screen. No, I'm just kidding. You said his Halloween Horror Nights started early this year in CCW. Well, they started on Raw as War. Did they call it Raw as War? Is that the name of the show anymore?
No. Absolutely not. Ever since they bought WCW
Ukraine and stuff, I get it. I want to put the word in there and stuff.
No, I think like around the year. When did they buy WCW? 2000? Yeah, there. That's when.
It's been that long.
Yeah, that's when they stopped calling it. When they won the war.
I've called it Raw's War for the last 23 years, unbeknownst to me. Now, Ezra, yes, you have the Invoked, you have Skits. You have a lot of cool stuff. I put Frank the Clown in that same demonic group. Obviously, you have Rich Weiss, very demonic, I think, as well. So you have a lot of crazy stuff. But yeah, so Halloween Horror Nights. But no, Skits and Ricky. Just to go back, I have to say, like, Ricky could win the CCW Heavyweight Championship at any moment. I think it's very clear to see that you will see ERA and Ricky wrestle the crown very soon. I think that's deserved. So yeah, you have a toss up in this match. I really think that. Like, I would say Skits gets the best of Ricky, but I don't know if Skits wins the match.
Well, this was a match that never happened at Game of War. It was supposed to be Skits and Ricky Martinez this past Saturday at Port St. Lucie, but for some unforeseen circumstances.
He was flooded into his house, but I think he was also playing a little bit of the games, saying, I'm not wrestling this guy twice. I think, again, it's all these wrestlers want to cry about, Ricky's not crying, but all these wrestlers want to say that the executive committee is punishing them in any way, but I think Skits and Ricky is, if you're afraid of clowns, you're afraid of clowns, I didn't love clowns, but I've been in plenty of McDonald's in my life, obviously. But so he's got to step in that ring and he's got to look across to that white paint and the insanity that lives inside a man with infinite amount of personalities, a man who's a universe within himself. So you have Ricky, who's also in a different way a universe within himself. So that's the match. That's going to be, could be match of the night Saturday.
Very well could be. And moving on to this absolutely stacked card, Nikki Blackheart going back to back, this time taking on JC Love. Axel, what do you think about this big women's match? Nikki Blackheart, if she can survive that first test against Madison Blake, man, you got to think all that momentum coming in. She's going to be on a high of highs going into the second one. What do you think about JC Love's chances?
What was going to be very interesting about this weekend for Nikki Blackheart is that she's going to be taking on two competitors that are already established in their wrestling career with Madison Blake and then JC Love, who also has been gaining a lot of momentum in our Tampa shows at Havoc and Hayes. I believe she has been going undefeated here in CCW with our Tampa shows, but to now bring her down here to South Florida and have an opportunity to take on a debuting still Nikki Blackheart in what is going to be her second match initially in her career. It's going to be very interesting to see how Nikki Blackheart is able to take on this 2 weekend shows that she's had, but also maintain that strong presence that we know that she has against someone that is a little bit more experienced like JC Love. But with JC, she's quick. She's fast in the ring. So throwing her style of being quick and fast in the ring with Nikki, who's just a powerhouse in the ring. You just see it from her presence. It's going to be very interesting to see which of these two women are going to come out on top for the CCW women's division. And maybe this just propels Nikki Blackheart a little bit more up the ranking in our women's division and makes her more of a claim here for a potential future championship opportunity against maybe the woman who she's backing in her corner, Ruthie J.
That's how big of a deal Nikki Blackheart is. She hasn't even had her first match, and we're already
talking about. You want to crown her? Crown her. Nikki Blackheart is who we thought she was. No, styles make fights, guys. I never thought that Daniel Cormier would have been able to defeat Stipe Miocic, and it was, he did one time and then he lost the rematch, but and it happens. So you have someone who could just be stronger and faster, but and bigger. But JC Love, again, the experience there. She just got to win against Casey Lennox, who is, if you put, again, it's styles make fights. If you put Nikki Blackheart in there with Casey Lennox would be the favorite, but JC Love beat Casey Lennox, so wouldn't that make JC Love the favorite in this match? So again, styles make fights. So
sorry to cut you off, Nelly. What I was going to add is just that what I find very interesting about all this is that we're talking about Nikki Blackheart, and like you mentioned, there's no tape for us to really go as a reference. This is going to be the very first time that any of us really get a taste of Nikki Blackheart. So we don't really even know what she's going to be able to bring to the table. Her style, her strength, her presence in the ring. I'm just really going to be sitting back for those matches in particular, just so that I can take in what I'm going to be watching with this new debut here for CCW, and who many are talking about being a future star here in CCW. So that's what I find it to be very interesting. We're talking about these matches, but we at the end of the day don't really know exactly what Nikki Blackheart is going to be able to bring to the ring, and that to me is the exciting part of these two nights for her.
Yeah, we know how she's done under pressure. She's degraded Miami Swim Week and with model work, and she's done a lot of stuff, but everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. So.
Yeah, I think this weekend a lot.
Somebody, puts a fist right in the center of her nose, or as soon as you get an elbow, directly to the right part of your neck, or you get the wind knocked out of you, you have to adjust and you have to wrestle. And that's what wrestling is. It's what changes it's what separates the people who do it for 4 months or the people who do it for 40 years is how you react to whatever's going to happen to you. So, but I have high hopes, so marketable, so something special there, but you also got to execute. Just got to win some matches.
Yeah, I think a lot on this weekend depends on that first match against Madison Blake. I think that if Nikki Blackheart loses that first match, she goes 0-2 this weekend. I think it's a slippery slope, especially making her debut. I think it all depends on that Madison Blake match. How does this weekend look for Nikki Blackheart? And if I'm JC Love, I'm rooting for Madison Blake because I want a weekend state of mind for Nikki Blackheart. I want that loss.
And you never know. You have Mila and Madison are on a trajectory too. They got in a backstage confrontation, and Mila, she's always around. She's just hanging around. So, like, in a good way, like she's always there. And does Mila show up on Fridays? Is there something? Is there something there?
Women's division is brewing in the last territory, but let's go to this that has been brewing a little bit.
These people are telling me we're going to Titty City, ladies and gentlemen.
Raw Dogs called out the Iron Savages last Breakout. They called them out. They said, "You're not the big boys. We're the big dogs." And Iron Savages have kindly agreed to it. It is going to be Jack Jamison and Big Boulder taking on the Raw Dogs, Elliot Crow, and James Tapia. It's going to be good. This is going to be good. I got this one circled. I mean, there's going to be a lot of beef. There's going to be a lot of chops. There's going to be heavy hitting. I mean, what do you guys think about it? Let's start with Nelio.
Guys, I'm gonna give my thoughts on this, and then I'm gonna go watch one more episode of Bluey before we put my daughter to bed. But Iron Savages and Crown are happening. Kissimmee, August 9th, 8th, I don't know, second Friday of August. They're gonna look pretty dumb if they can't get through this weekend. But that being said, Raw Dogs are on top. Kicked Ozzy right in the head. It depends on who's the it's hard because you get a little bit of the Freebird thing. Is it Tapia and Crow? Tapia and Crow, technically speaking, they bring so much to the fight. Fair is the wild card, So do the Iron Savages know who they're wrestling? Do we know who they're wrestling? I'm pretty sure, they submit the competitors day before. So I guess I'll know Friday for Saturday who of the Raw Dogs are wrestling Iron Savages. Iron Savages, love these guys. Big dudes, hilarious, like fun guys. But I think they need to really make a statement if they want to stand toe-to-toe against the Crown. So this weekend is part of that statement, has to be part of that statement. They've done what they've done in All Elite Wrestling. They've done what they've done all across professional wrestling. But man, I am excited. I'm excited for this. I'm excited for their match against Better Together, and I'm excited for their match against the Raw Dogs. But these competitions mean something because, if somebody knocks them off, we could be seeing Raw Dogs and Crown before that, or Raw Dogs and or Iron Savages and Night Riders, or Raw Dogs and Night Riders, whomever, So these are matches that are very, very important, but I want to see the Crown and I want to see Iron Savages because they're four big jack dudes, who I think we'll be working with each other in the near future in other stages as well, on TBS, I hope. But, get them off the Honor Club, get them on TBS, TK. But get them off that Honor Club, But it's for
nothing wrong with
$9.99 a month for Honor Club. It's a free one. But you get Iron Savages and Crown before you have to pay $9.99, and then eventually, hopefully, you'll be able to see it on TBS in the near future, because I think that's the trajectory that both of these teams are going to. I really love these guys. You'll see them a lot in CCW, but come see them now. Come see them this weekend, all right? Guys, this weekend is going to be incredible. Breakout is awesome. Tickets are flying, so buy them. And then Rumble in the Jungle, it's always going to be packed. It's always going to be awesome. Domino and ERA, no disqualification, which is that next? Are you talking about that next?
Yeah, we're talking about next.
Yeah, we're talking about that one next. That's the last match for the night.
You bastards. All right. So, I'm going to just bring it on home. I'm going to go.
All right.
I'm going to say thanks, everybody. Thanks, everybody at home. I got to say, Tyler, Axel, you guys are doing a bang-up job. I just decided to jump on and throw a big wrench into your stupid plans. Like, I figured, why not? I'm just going to, get a little nutty in here. But thanks to everyone, CCW, all the fans, ccwrestlingfl.com. You better buy your thing. I'm not allowed to smoke cigars in the house. I'm probably going to sit outside after my daughter goes to sleep and smoke the cigar and on the pool. But I'm excited for Friday. Happy Juneteenth and happy weekend and happy everything, guys. So I'll leave and then I'll let you guys get back to your, whatever you guys do when I'm not here. I'll see everybody else Friday and Saturday.
Thank you for joining.
And buy your bash tickets too, because that's going to be crazy.
Hey. CCW CEO Nelio Costa. Thank you, Nelio. Always a blast when he jumps on. So back to it. Tag team action, right? Iron Savages, Raw Dogs. Axel, what are your thoughts?
I mean, what a statement to really call out the Iron Savages. But I do question, was that really the right move for the Raw Dogs, knowing that they have to take on Monster Mosh ahead, knowing that now they've really inserted themselves into this Cruiserweight Championship picture? It really maybe seems to me that maybe they're taking a little too much on their plate, and we got to take it one step at a time. But let's focus on Monster Mosh before we take on the Iron Savages. Let's take on the Iron Savages before we decide to stake any claim for the Cruiserweight Championship division. But I think that the Raw Dogs have been underutilized for some time, that they're hungry right now. They're not going to wait for their opportunity any moment. They're going to call out the big dogs. They're going to call out Iron Savages. They're going to make a statement by attacking Skits and Ozzy Killmeister. And this weekend, it just has a lot for them to prove. If you're going to, if they're going to, the saying goes, right? If you're going to, you better have a lot of bark, or you better have a lot of talk behind your bark. So if they're going to be calling out people like the Iron Savages, they better be able to be ready to back that up in the ring. So it's going to be just an interesting match for me to watch, as the Raw Dogs, who want to continue staking a claim not only in the tag team division, but in the Cruiserweight division, but just in CCW as a whole. As someone who I would consider maybe visitors here to CCW, we're expected to see a little bit more of the Iron Savages, but our crowd are still getting used to them. So maybe knocking them off before they get any real momentum going off here may even put the Raw Dogs now in a tag team championship picture, from what we just heard from Nelio, right?
Right. No, and another thing with the Iron Savages, we also have to keep in mind that on Friday they're going to be going up against Better Together. But in this case, a lot of times we say that and we say how rested the other guys are going to be. But Raw Dogs are going to be right there with them, going up against Monster Mosh. So they both are going back-to-back nights. Iron Savages, though, I think are a little bit more experienced, a little bit more veterans, and are more used to that wear and tear. Not to put anything against Elliot Crow and James Tapia, because they are those dogs. They are the Raw Dogs that are used to putting in that grind and effort. But I think the Iron Savages, the Raw Dogs, they always got some bite behind the bark, but I think the bite's not going to be enough at Rumble in the Jungle 5. And I think the Iron Savages go 2 for 2 this weekend, and a whole lot of momentum, especially when they go back and they listen to this and they hear Nelio talk about facing the crown. I mean, when Nelio drops those bombs on us, people listen, people get motivated. So Iron Savage is like, yeah, we're going to run through whoever they put us against so we can get those CCW tag team championships. And by the way, what a match that will be. Not trying to put anything in the future, but the crown versus Iron Savages. Are you kidding me? There's some big boys in there. But Axel, I think it's time to talk about the match that everyone in Doral, when they go to buy these tickets, this is what they're going to be looking forward to the most. This is going to be their hometown boy, the 305 boy, going against the snake that turned his back on the city. ERA against Domino in a no DQ match. Anything goes. This is what it has boiled down to. This is what happens when you go after a man's family, when you assault him with pouring hot coffee on his face. I mean, this is where it gets to. And not even this, but afterwards, we're going to see at Bash of the Brew a damn street fight with Gangrel. That's going to be crazy in its own case. But let's not forget, Doral is Domino's hometown, born 5 minutes away from Rumble in the Jungle, Tripping Animals. Axel, what do you think? Do you think ERA sneaks one out here?
Well, if this is not going to be the main event of the show, I don't really know what's going to be the main event to close out Rumble in the Jungle 5. But if you've not been following us for the past couple of months, you know that this is a rivalry that has turned very personal very quickly. I don't know how smart it is, maybe for Domino and ERA both to step into this no disqualification street fight before they have to meet again in the ring in a street fight again in just 2 weeks. But you know that at this point, these two men have been gunning for each other for some time now. So they have a lot of pent-up frustration building up inside of them. And what a better way to release all that and prove or really gain some momentum heading into that upcoming tag team match at Bash at the Brew than to face off in a no disqualification match. Now, I don't really know exactly what's going to happen here, but I can tell you it is something that you're not going to want to miss. Whenever these two men have been getting physical with each other, it turns fast so quickly. The intensity just rises from the moment that they step out of that curtain and step inside of the ring. Who's going to have it really I can't tell you. I just know that these two men are going to leave it all in the ring. I don't even know if we're going to have a clear, decisive winner at this point. Since we know Ricky Martinez is going to be at that show as well, will he play a factor in this match? Will Domino be able to find someone? We know that for Game of War, Gangrel was not medically clear to compete. Will he even be medically clear to compete in 2 weeks from now at Bash at the Brew? Will Domino be able to find someone to just have in his corner this weekend, which I would suggest, if I'm being frank, is there's just a lot of components that can go down for this match. A lot to talk about. There's a lot of potential possibilities that can go down, but this is going to be a high-stake match between these two men, not because it's going to propel them maybe to a championship opportunity, but because a win here is crucial for either of these men, after especially what they've been putting each other through week after week, month after month, show after show here at CCW.
Boss B says the birthday cake was great as well. That's right. When these two go to battle, everything's getting thrown. Birthday cake, cafecito, chairs, tables. It doesn't matter. The route is going to pick up right where they left off, and it is going to be violent as violent can get. Both these men, like you said, going in with so much on their shoulders, so much to prove, so much ego, so much animosity towards each other. And it's going to explode, and Darrell's going to be right there with him. It's going to be an explosion, and it's just going to be violent amazingness, and I can't wait for it. And fans, if you haven't gotten your tickets, what the hell are you doing? ccwrestlingfl.com. Got to join us for both these nights, because these two South Florida cards are stacked. These back-to-back shows. Come to both of them. Make the trip to Pompano, then come down to Doral. It is well worth it. It is so much fun when we do these back-to-back shows, especially with the amount of talent and amazing matchups we got. And before we start wrapping it up, let's just look at the landscape of the last territory right now. If you're not in a group or team, like you mentioned, dude, get with somebody. Domino's got to find someone. You got the Raw Dogs. You got Monster Mosh. You got Rated 5-Star Era. You got the Invoked running around. You have so many groups that can split off into individuals that it's hard to have a one-on-one match with someone if you ain't got someone else watching your back. And it's just so many different components right now. It's such an interesting time in the last territory, and just got to have eyes in the back of your head. And we're going to see a lot of competitors wishing they had that Friday and Saturday. I can't wait for it. Axel, why don't you wrap us up?
Well, like you guys have just heard everything here. We break down a lot of the matches here on CCW Insider, but we also get a lot of potential spoilers like we did with Nelly joining us here. So like always, guys, join us every Wednesday here at CCW Insider at 7 p.m., 7-ish. We'll leave it at 7-ish. Some technical difficulties here and there sometimes don't allow us to always go here live at 7. But always join us. Tyler Casimir, myself, Lizzie, Nelio, some of our special guests here on CCW Insider to get some of the behind-the-scenes scoops on everything you need to know before heading into weekends like these. But like always, get your tickets ahead of time. As you heard, Nelio, tickets are selling fast. I bet you we don't even have any front row tickets left for either our Breakout or our Doral show. But if you're able to make it, still buy some tickets at ccwrestlingfl.com. Come experience the last territory live with us. Get some cool shirts while you're at there. Some really cool merch. If you guys have not gone to rep CCW, come do that with us. But also follow us on our social medias at CCW Alive TV, whether that be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and even on our YouTube channel at CCW Alive Wrestling, where you can catch some of the matches that you aren't able to go and witness in person, but you can definitely check out a lot of our archives there on our YouTube channel. Like yesterday, the match between Roma and Ruthie J for the CCW Women's Championship. No disqualification match dropped last night. I was able to see it there in person, but being able to rewatch it at home, I missed out on so much that I didn't even personally see, and I was there in the building. But guys, come and join us. It's always a great time. Tyler Casimir and myself, always here to break things out for you. You can always catch him here calling the matches at our shows. I'm always getting you behind-the-scenes stuff for these CCW shows that we just love so much and are very passionate about. But come join us this weekend. Tyler, myself, everyone from the CCW family will be there. So come and say hello to us. It's always a great time when you come out to some of the last territory shows. So if you're able to make it out this weekend, awesome. If you aren't, well, don't worry, because at the beginning of the month in July, we start our schedule all over again. We may not have a show next weekend, so don't tune into CCW Insider next weekend, or next week, I should say. But we will be back for our Bash at the Brew 42 breakdown of CCW Insider. That's going to be Saturday, July 6th. But for now, I think we've spent a lot of time talking about wrestling. Now it's time to actually unwind and get ready for this weekend. Don't you think, my man?
Absolutely. Thank you, fans, for joining us. I've been Tyler Cashmere. That's been Axel Rome, and we will catch you in 2 weeks.
You have been watching CCW Insider, produced by Minutes to Bell Time in association